Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. Licensed lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island Licensed Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser along with Justin D'Onofrio, and we are still waiting on a decision from Aaron Rodgers. He is currently talking to Pat McAfee. He's talking to Pat McAfee right now. We will update you with any breaking news if it comes to us, but it's been crazy with Aaron Rodgers these last couple of days. It's looking like he's going to be a Jet. Obviously, Trey Wingo said a couple of days ago that it was done. The Jets yesterday go out and sign Alan Lazard, so they're definitely trying to get him to come. They definitely are, but he still isn't a Jet yet. And the big question now is what's Rodgers going to do? Is he going to play for the Jets? Is he going to play for the Packers, or is he going to retire? And I'm in the camp right now that he's going to play for the Jets. I still think he's going to play for the Jets. They're going to I think they're just figuring things out right now. I think they're going to end up getting this done. I know there's a lot of questions right now going on, but I think the Jets are going to get this done, and I do think he is going to play for the Jets.
Yeah, that's what it seems like at the moment. Everything going on. Yeah, it sounded like it was close to a deal the other day. I kind of, if that list is what if he's asking that list of kind of free agents he wants, at some point, I feel like the Jets have to get kind of annoyed. Like how much more waiting do we have to do to get him? But yeah, he's kind of ridiculous with all this, trying to, waiting around, creating like a free agent list. But right now it does sound like he'll be a Jet at some point, but I would think at some point Jets are going to get pretty annoyed if this thing just keeps going on. He still hasn't made a decision in the next couple of weeks.
Absolutely, because you see what's happened with the Jets. One of their plan B is gone. Derek Carr obviously signed with the Saints last week. Their plan C, that's gone. Jimmy Garoppolo was signed with the Raiders. So pretty much if the Jets if they miss out on Aaron Rodgers, they pretty much have one option left: go after Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, they would. They'd be. Yeah, they're running out of options here. Mike White just signed with the Jets, so you don't even with the Dolphins, so you don't have him there for, as fine anymore. But so, yeah, right now it's got to be kind of knowing that the Jets, they definitely had a couple of the quarterbacks on the list. All, the other two are gone. They still have Rodgers. They still could possibly go after Lamar Jackson. Things don't work out with Rodgers. But yeah, it's got to be definitely frustrating for the Jets, kind of continue to play this waiting game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got some recent news from Aaron Rodgers. He said on Pat McAfee, I will say this isn't a decision day. Says the decision has already been made. We're past that. So he says he says there has been a decision, and we're pretty much just waiting on what the decision is right now.
Yeah. So my only thing from this is it the list? Is he waiting for the Jets to finish his list of free agent priorities that he wants, and then he'll officially kind of sign off on the trade? That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not totally sure. You never know what he could be thinking. You really can't. He gets very annoying that it gets very annoying with him.
Oh yeah, and this is what the Jets are going to be if they get him. This is what they're going to be dealing with, stuff like this. Not making clear decisions of what he's going to want to do. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, 2 years ago we know that he wanted out of Green Bay because he was ticked off that they drafted Jordan Love, and last year then he signs a deal with Green Bay now, and then this year him and the Packers were pretty much not committed to each other either. So it's very it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. He says that a decision is coming soon. Obviously he said on Pat McAfee that this isn't decision day. I'm not going to announce the decision to the world, but I do expect a decision to come soon.
You would hope, and I would think the Jets and even like the Packers want to kind of figure this thing out and get this thing over with. So yeah, I think at some point both parties are going to kind of edge Rodgers to kind of go, hey, let's make a decision here, because yeah, this is getting old. This has been going on for a couple years now. The Packers probably just want to get over this. The Jets want to firmly make sure that Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback for the next couple years, or if they should plan on trying to make an offer to Lamar Jackson in the future. So yeah, I would think a decision you would hope would be coming soon.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to be. It's got to be. I mean, yes. I mean, free agency just started, but still, I pretty much expect something to happen. And for the Jets, it's just I feel like now it's pretty much as we said, it's Rodgers or Lamar, or they're back to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they are, and and I don't know how you would go back to Wilson at this point with everything going on, because you're already pretty much telling them that you don't have any faith in him that you could be that he can be their franchise quarterback. So yeah, they for the Jets, there's a lot of pressure to get either done with Rodgers or Jackson, or again that locker room's gonna fall apart very quickly. Wilson is a week 1 starter.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can go back to Zach Wilson. I just don't know if that's possible. If you get into a spot where Rodgers doesn't go there, and then you don't get Lamar, I just don't know if you can go back to Zach Wilson. You may have to go. You may have to draft someone. You may have to trade up to that number 3 spot and get somebody.
Yeah, you absolutely will, because he's we've talked about it. Does not seem like he's a guy that is very well liked in that locker room. Kind of know what the fans think of Zach Wilson. So yeah, it would be a spot where the Jets would have to, emergency spot there. Yeah, would have to probably try to trade up to get somebody, or hope that's probably their really only other option, because unless there's some other quarterbacks out there that's available for trade, but I would think probably not. So yeah, they'd have to draft somebody. They can't find, if they can't get Rodgers or Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely, and we'll see. I mean, the Rodgers news could be coming really, really quick. It might be coming before we're even off the air with one of our 2 shows. So we will get you the latest when it happens. But we got to talk about another quarterback, and that we've been talking about for a while. That's Lamar Jackson. And today at 4:00, teams can start negotiating with them. But the thing is, though, a lot of teams have not been interested. The teams we thought last week that were going to be really interested haven't been. The Falcons don't have interest. It looks like they're going to stick with Desmond Ridder. The Raiders, as we saw, them signing Jimmy Garoppolo, they don't have interest. Those were teams we thought would definitely have interest. The Commanders have said we want to go with Sam Howell. You're looking down the list. I'm looking at maybe, and then you look at the Buccaneers. They just went out and signed Baker Mayfield. I think you're looking at 2 teams at this point. It's the Colts and it's the Jets that realistically are going to trade for Lamar Jackson. Or, as I thought last week, he was done staying with the Ravens. It's looking like there could be a chance he could be the quarterback for the Ravens this year because of the lack of interest from teams. I think the biggest reason for that is the lack of availability of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's not a ton of want from him. I don't know what if it's the guaranteed money that he wants, it's kind of pushing teams away from, trying to, trying to, give him one offer or anything like that. But yeah, for Jackson, it's definitely not a long list of candidates right now or options for him that, he could be potentially playing with next year. So yeah, it's interesting. And I know that relationship with the Ravens right now is not great with him, it seems like. So it would really be interesting to see how it goes. If right now it really seems possible that he may end up back in Baltimore, and we'll see how that goes. But if both parties can kind of get over what happened, because I know Lamar obviously was not happy with the earlier contracts that the Ravens offered him.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Really, at 4:00 today, teams can start, coming up with offers, coming up with deals, but there really isn't a lot of interest, and that is a little bit of a surprise to me. They're because this is a top 10 quarterback in the league, but I understand it because of the lack of durability.
Yeah, that's another concern, and he's and that's definitely a big problem when you offer that much guaranteed money or for what he wants, and it's totally a big risk. And yeah, he's been a guy that is definitely worth the money, because we've seen when he's healthy, he's been the top 10 quarterback and again, he changed that whole Ravens offense when he's out there. So yeah, it's one of those things where he's been, the durability is such a big question, and can he stay healthy for 17 game season and beyond? So yeah, it's a huge risk, but yeah, he's definitely someone that has deserved the money.
Absolutely, he definitely deserves it, and there's no question about it. But the two things that are holding back this contract is the guaranteed money and his durability. Those are clearly the two things that are holding back this contract.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and hopefully, there'll be somebody out there maybe that will go out there and offer what he wants. But yeah, right now it definitely seems, with those two issues, that he may have to find his way back to Baltimore, and that may be the one that give him the best contract, even though it's probably maybe something that he's not. Even if it's a contract that he doesn't really like, he may have to sign with Baltimore.
Yep, absolutely. So we will go to another quarterback, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo, and he signed with the Raiders on Monday, 3 years, $67 million. And I think this is a move. I think this is a bridge. This is a bridge guy though for the Raiders. I think this is a bridge guy to get their franchise guy, because I think at 7, if Anthony Richardson's there, I think they take him there, start Garoppolo a year, and then because they can get out of this contract after 1 year. I think they start Garoppolo maybe 1 year and draft Anthony Richardson if he's there. So I think Garoppolo's a bridge guy. But the question really is for the Raiders, seeing that they did trade Darren Waller, but seeing that they signed Jacoby Myers, are the Raiders a playoff team with Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback? And I don't think they are, and I think it's not even that close. I think they're still a 6-win team. I know they got weapons on offense. I know they got Devontae Adams. I know they got Josh Jacobs. I know they just signed Jacoby Myers, but also they traded Darren Waller. And their defense, even though Max Crosby's a stud, their defense is not good enough. When he won games in San Francisco, it was because he had a great defense behind him. He has a below-average defense at best behind him with the Raiders. So I think the Raiders are definitely not a playoff team, and I wouldn't be surprised if they I wouldn't be surprised if they're 6-11 again with Garoppolo, just like they were this year with Derek Carr. But Justin, are the Raiders a playoff team?
No, I'm with you. I don't think they are either. Because I think Derek Carr, it's a better quarterback than Jimmy G, and I know Jimmy G's had more playoff success, but he's always had a better team around him. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it really shows that the Raiders are going to draft somebody at the number 7 spot, whoever's out there still. The defense it's not good still. Again, we'll see what they do to try to fix it. But yeah, just kind of the stuff with McDaniels, now signing Jimmy G, just kind of seems what he's doing all over again in Denver, just signing a bunch of Patriot players, and I don't think that always works. So, we'll see. But yeah, right now that's definitely not a playoff team at the moment.
Nope, I agree. I mean, I think this is a bridge guy. I think the Raiders, seeing what they've done, releasing Derek Carr, trading Darren Waller. I think they're in a rebuild right now, and I think this is just a bridge guy to their franchise guy, who I think is going to be Anthony Richardson with the number 7 pick. And this leads me to my next question. Does this rule out them drafting a quarterback with their top 10 pick? And I'd say absolutely not. I think they are going to draft a quarterback with their top 10 pick.
No, I absolutely agree. I think they will as well. Yeah, Jimmy G's, we know the durability is not great. But yeah, being able to get out of it after 1 year definitely shows that I think there's a very good chance that the Raiders kind of sit there at number 7 and pick a franchise quarterback, let him develop next year, and then have him, if they think he's ready, have him start in 2 years.
Yep, absolutely. So going from one current Raider to a former Raider in Darren Waller, the Giants made a big trade yesterday, trading for Darren Waller for a 3rd-round pick, and that was the pick they got for Kadarius Toney. So they pretty much traded Darren Waller for Kadarius Toney. Pretty good deal right there. So I think this Giants team is looking really, really good going into the season. I like the Okereke move too at middle linebacker. He's not great, but he's an improvement of what they had last year. They improve at the tight end position. Could be seeing a lot of 12 personnel this year with Waller and with Bellinger on the field at the same time. So I think this Giants team is in really, really good shape going into the year. Now, if they could hit on one of these wide receivers, if they can get a Jordan Addison, if they can get a Jackson Smith-Njigba, if they can get a Quentin Johnson, I think this team has a very good chance of being Super Bowl contenders in the NFC. Looking at what's happened with the Eagles, I think the NFC East is getting very, very close between the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. And right now, I think the Giants – I think this puts them in really, really good position to be Super Bowl contenders and also contenders in the NFC in the NFC East. But because of Waller's injury history, and he has missed 14 games in the last 2 seasons, I still have them 3rd in the division. Very, very close 3rd. Very close. I think they easily can win the division. I still have them 3rd in the division, and I have them as the 4th best team in the NFC. Justin, because of this move, where are the Giants in terms of the NFC East, and where are they in terms of the NFC?
For me, I do have them 4th in the NFC, and then in their division, I think they're a little bit better than Dallas. I'll put them 2nd right now. I think they're still a little bit behind the Eagles, and I need to see them kind of give them a game too, because in 2 of the 3 big matchups last year they struggled. But yeah, I like the Wall move again. The offense got a little bit better with them. They're continuing to kind of build that offense. Yeah, it'd be nice to add another wide receiver in the draft. To help out just with all the injury concerns that they've had at that position the last couple of years. But yeah, bring back Barkley now with Daniel Jones, and Brian Dable, in his offense at Buffalo were always, really good with Josh Allen. So yeah, I think the future's bright with the Giants, especially with that offense. And it's definitely a team that, they add another wide receiver too. Definitely a team that, especially the NFC's really wide open. I feel like after really the 49ers, even I know the Eagles have kind of lost a little bit so far in free agency, but even after the Eagles, I feel like it's pretty wide open in the NFC. So yeah, I could see the Giants finding a way to get to being a dark horse for the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. So you do think though that the Eagles are still the best team in the NFC East, even with all the losses they've had of Javon Hargrave, of TJ Edwards, seeing Darius Slay get released today. And they lost Marcus Epps too. So losing 4 starters, you still think the Eagles should be the favorite in the NFC East? I don't, but you do.
I think so. I again, what Jalen Hurts and offense did last year, with Nick Sirianni did, with some of the holes that they filled last year in the draft, I think they could fill a couple more of those in this draft, and we'll kind of see what they do throughout free agency. So yeah, the way that they just kind of ran through the division, the conference last year. I still think that's a really good team. We'll kind of see what they do in a couple of days here in free agency. But yeah, right now with Jalen Hurts, the way he played last year, I think the Eagles are still just a little bit better than the Giants and Cowboys.
Ooh, all righty. And now we're going to move on to another move in the NFC East, and the Cowboys traded for Stephon Gilmore yesterday, and he still had a really, really good season with the Colts. He's not the player he was with the Patriots in 2019 and in 2019, but he had a really, really good year with the Colts last year. Now you got him and Trayvon Diggs on the edges. As your 2 corners, you got your edge rushers, DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. I know this defense struggles against the run, but I think this is going to be the best pass defense in football. And the big question is, looking at the Cowboys going into the season, where are they in the NFC and where are they in the NFC East? And right now, because of historically in the NFC East, no one's repeated since 2004. Since the Eagles of 2004, no one's repeated. And I think the same thing happens this year. And I think right now, I think the Cowboys are the best team. Not in the NFC. I don't think they're the best team in the NFC, but I do think they're the best team in the NFC East. I do think For me, I think they are the favorite to win the NFC East. But I don't think they're. I definitely don't think they're the best team in the NFC. I think San Francisco is the best team. And say that Trey Lance pans out and is really good, I think they're the best team by far in the NFC going into next year. But I do think this move makes the Cowboys, and seeing what's happened with the Eagles, I do think there's a little bit of there is a shift of power in the NFC East, and I would take the Cowboys as the best team in the NFC East. Justin, where do you got the Cowboys in the NFC East and in the NFC?
I have them third, right. I like them and the Giants are are neck and neck right now. I have them third. I think Gilmore's and then in the NFC, I have them fifth, right behind the Giants. Again, it's another team that I think has the talent and capability to be a dark horse in the NFC to make a Super Bowl. But yeah, I think Gilmore's a really nice addition to that defense. Putting them on the other side of Diggs, the way Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence can get after the quarterback. That's going to be a really tough defense to score on. We'll see what else they kind of do this offseason. I know they just cut Elliott today, but I think that I like them and the Giants right now are so neck and neck. It's I feel like it's a coin toss, but I'll take the Giants just a little bit over the Cowboys, but it's pretty close. But Gilmore's definitely still talented quarterback, but yeah, as you mentioned, he's not the same guy as he was in New England.
Oh, no, not at all. But yeah, it's going to be close. But I just think I give the Cowboys a slight edge in the NFC in the NFC East. But we got to react to some breaking news, and now we have heard that Aaron Rodgers intends to sign with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers publicly acknowledged that his intention is to play for the Jets next season. And it was 90% retiring before the retreat. So it looks like Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Jets. So what we're going to do is we're going to just imagine, we're just going to pretend that Rodgers does sign with the Jets and say he does get traded to the Jets. Say Rodgers does get traded to the Jets. Would you say they are the best team in the AFC East? I still would not. I still would take the Bills. I still think it's the Bills division right now, because even if Rodgers gets traded, the Jets are going to have to give up. Even if Rodgers does get traded to the Jets, he's going to have to give up some pieces. The Jets are going to have to give up some pieces. Yeah,
absolutely. They're going to have to. I still think it's the Bills right there. Look, for whatever reason, I know Rodgers had some injuries, battled injuries last year, but he still didn't have a great year last year. I know the Green Bay's defense was, Green Bay's wide receiver core wasn't great, but I still think it's the Bills division. I think with the talent that they got still, I think they just re-signed Jordan Poyer. So
they just did, yeah. According to Schefter, they just re-signed Poyer, and that's a good signing right there. That's a really good sign to get. That's good. That's big for them to get him re-signed.
Yeah, absolutely. So I still think I'm with you that it's still the Bills division. I got to see it from Rodgers, coming. Again, is he, I would assume he plans on coming to OTAs and all that, because that's something he missed last year. And I think that's affected that chemistry of that team. So I got to see what it kind of off-season workouts he attends to kind of try to get some chemistry with this offense. Because I think that was a big part of why they struggled last year.
Absolutely. And the big thing is if Rodgers does end up getting traded to the Jets, which it looks like it's going to happen, where would you put them in the AFC? I wouldn't say they're better than the Chiefs. I would not say the Jets are better than the Bills. Obviously, we said they were better than the Bills. They weren't better than the Bills. I don't think they're better than the Bengals. And so I would probably put them, I'd say 4. I'd put them top 4 in the AFC if he does get signed with the Jets, because you could talk about, he didn't have a great year last year. He played a lot of that year hurt, and I know he had lack of chemistry with his receivers, and that was his fault. He was not at OTAs. He was not at OTAs, and he was not at minicamp or OTAs, and part of that was his fault. But I still think this guy, when healthy, is a top 5 quarterback in this league, and I think he's going to lead the Jets to at least a wild card spot and very, very easily the division title.
Yeah, they absolutely could. Again, for all the kind of disappointment the Jets had at quarterback last year, they still won 7 games. So, yeah, I would probably put them 4th behind the Bills, behind the Bengals, and behind the Chiefs. Behind those 3. I'd probably slot them 4th just because, we'll see what they have to lose. But that defense is really good. That offensive line is going to be healthy this year. they do have some pretty good weapons, especially young guys. So yeah, I'd probably put them fourth. I would hope.
And we got Hector chiming in. If he goes to the Jets, I'd say they go 10-7 at best. First round loss in the wild card round. I can see that, but I think they'll be a little bit. I think they'll get a wild card. I think they're going to be a wild card team, but I think they'll be a little bit better than that. I think they'll be. I would say the Jets are going to be, if he does go there, I think they'll be like 11-12 wins. I think it'll be 11-12 win team that yes, could very easily lose in the first round, but I do think if he does go to the Jets, even if they are like a wild card team, they're definitely a Super Bowl contender because their defense, even though they might lose some pieces on that defense, is still really, really good.
Yeah, the defense is really good. I could see him go 10-7, maybe first couple weeks. They struggle to kind of get in a rhythm, kind of the chemistry wise isn't there the first couple weeks. So I could see them go 10-7, going off on a slow start there. But yeah, I definitely think they'll probably be in the wild card. And yeah, I could totally see them losing the first round. In the wild card round, I could totally see that happen. We know Rodgers has had its struggles at times in the playoffs, so I would not be surprised to see them lose in the first round of wild card.
Oh, I wouldn't either. But if this happens, it would be huge for the Jets. It's pretty ironic. Rodgers wears number 12, the same number as Joe Namath, and the Jets are getting a former Packer great as their quarterback.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy how it happened. Yeah, with Favre going over there. So it's weird, but yeah, it's coming all full circle there.
Oh, absolutely. So we will continue to update you on this news throughout this show and even our even though it's a March Madness show, we will update you on this news during that too. But we had a big trade last week for the number 1 overall pick. But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEX Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
So while we were at the Big East tournament this week on Friday, we had a big trade, blockbuster trade. The Bears traded the number 1 pick to the Carolina Panthers, and the Bears got a haul for it. They got DJ Moore, got the Panthers' 9th pick this year, got their first-round pick next year, and the Panthers' first-round pick second-round pick in this year and next year. So they got a ton for the number 1 overall pick. And here's my take on it. For the Bears side, they got a ton of draft picks, and they got DJ Moore to help Justin Fields. Justin Fields is got to have this team in playoff contention this year, or he is not the guy. The fourth quarter interceptions, they got to stop. They got to stop. The missing guys in the end zone, they got to stop. This guy has got a lot of talent. And we saw him. He's a really good runner of the ball, but he's got to become a better thrower of the football. And the fourth quarter interceptions need to stop. This guy has got to start winning games or he is going to be gone. He is not going to be their quarterback in the future, seeing as many first-round picks as they have and seeing that they have the Panthers' first-round pick in 2024 and say they have a 4-13 or a 5-12, they very easily could use a quarterback on that pick because the Panthers are not going to be good next year, regardless of who they draft. And for the Panthers, I could see it both ways. I think it's way too much to get a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young. I think don't even get me started with Anthony Richardson. If they take Anthony Richardson, that's way too much for that. But if for C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, I still think it's way too much. But this team is desperate for a franchise quarterback. This team, since 2019, this team has been 22-44. They've been 22-44. They've had four consecutive losing seasons, and they've had 7 different starting quarterbacks. This is a desperation move for the Panthers, but the Panthers have to get their guy, and they're definitely going to get their guy because they'll have the number 1 overall pick. But Justin, the biggest question I have, though, is there's 2 of them. Are the Bears a team that could contend? Three questions here. Are the Bears a team that could contend in the NFC North with this year with the moves they've made? Can they contend for a wild card spot? And is this too much for the Panthers to give up for the number 1 pick?
Yeah, I think right now in the NFC North, now with Rodgers sounding like he's on the way out the door, I know the Vikings had a good year. I think they totally could contend. I think they could be right there with the Vikings. Even the Lions, I think, are going to be better if that defense could kind of figure things out, which they did kind of sort of late down the stretch there. So I think for the Bears, absolutely. I think, you know, they could totally contend there in the NFC North next season. And you know, I don't think they're there yet contending in the NFC. Or for a wild card spot, I definitely think they can battle for a wild card spot. Again, going back to it, like I think it's wide open. Again, the South's going to be so bad. You're only going to get one team out of the NFC South. You know, Seattle's probably going to get out of the West. Like there's going to be a spot open there. So I could totally see the Bears finding a way to make a wild card spot. And then for the Panthers, I'm with you. I think they gave up way too much. You know, again, I know Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. I know people are very high on them, but you got no talent around them. You know, you never know with a quarterback. You know, if he's going to be the next great thing or if he's going to be a bust. It's just, you know, it's a lot, and there's a lot of pressure now on whoever they take at that number 1 spot to come in and have to be successful. And even there's not a ton for that guy, for whoever comes in here. There's not a lot around him at the moment for him to be successful. I do think it's a lot, and it adds a lot more pressure on that quarterback to have to come in here and do a good job. Because if not, and DJ Moore, and this really helps out Justin Fields, his career. You know, it's not gonna. You know, people are gonna be very hard on whoever starts for the Carolina Panthers on the road.
Absolutely. That quarterback's under pressure and is going to be in a tough situation his rookie year. And going back to the Bears, I think they could compete in the North because I think the North is wide open. I mean, I think the Packers aren't going to be great with Jordan. It looks like Jordan Love's going to be their starter, so I don't think they're going to be great. The Lions, I think, are going to be a good team, but you never know. Their defense is still not that good. And Jared Goff on the road did not play. He was great at home, but he did not play that well on the road last year. The Vikings, I know they won 13 games. I know they went 13-4. But they won 11 one-score games last year. That usually doesn't hold up the next season. And Kirk Cousins is is not a great quarterback. So I definitely could see the Bears competing in the North. Now, for a wild card spot, I think it's gonna be very hard because you got teams like the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. Because two of those 3 teams are probably gonna get wild card spots next year. I think all 3 of those teams are gonna make the playoffs again. And then yes, the South isn't good, but the West, you have the Seahawks, who I think are still going to be a really good team. So I think it's going to be hard. The way the Bears get in the playoffs this year, I think is through the division, not the wild card.
Yeah, I could totally see that. You know, I could totally see that happening because, yeah, the NFC is going to get 3 teams. I could see them maybe sneaking because that division, you know, in the NFC North, again, you know, maybe they could kind of, you know, find a way to beat somebody twice. And because like those 4 teams are going to be kind of very even with each other. So yeah, I could see kind of them beating each other up coming out of the South. Yeah, you're only gonna get one, so I could see them maybe getting Seattle. Seattle had a really good year, drafting wise. Like I think that team's gonna get better, but yeah, I think it'll be tough. But I could see them finding a way to kind of backdoor it just because maybe they could find a way to win 4 games in their division. I think could be possible right now with kind of how things shape out. Because yeah, as you mentioned with the Vikings, yeah, usually that 11-1 score games, it definitely usually flips over the next year, and that usually goes the other way around next year.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So we got to talk about another big trade this weekend, and that was the Dolphins trading for Jalen Ramsey. You look at their secondary: Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey. You got Phillips. You got Jaden Phillips as a edge rusher. You got Christian Wilkins on that defensive line. Now you got the assigned David Long too, who's a good run-stopping linebacker. I think the big question for the Dolphins is where are they in the AFC East and where are they in the AFC? I think if Tua stays healthy, this team has a very good chance of winning the AFC East, and I think they're Super Bowl contenders if Tua stays healthy. I do think with this roster, I do think they're Super Bowl contenders, and I would have them top. If Rodgers goes to the Jets, I'd have them top 5 in the AFC. I'd have the Chiefs 1, Bengals 2, Bills 3, Jets 4, Dolphins 5. If Tua stays, if Rodgers goes to the Jets, and if Tua stays healthy for the Dolphins, but that definitely is a big if. Justin, are the Dolphins Super Bowl contenders, and where do they rank in the AFC with this move?
Yeah, I'm with you. I have them 5 as well, behind the 4 teams that you got on top of them. So yeah, I think the Dolphins totally can be. Again, the big thing is how healthy is Tua. I think that's like the huge question, going into next year. I think it's a good move for the Dolphins because you got 2 years left here of Tua on his rookie deal before you got to make the decision if you want to pay him or not. So they're taking advantage of it by taking a shot here with Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if you saw the story on Byron Jones, but it's pretty sad to see kind of what's happened to him. That now they got to fill his spot. So I think for the Dolphins, they totally could be. But yeah, there's Tua now. Again, it's like last year. They got the pieces around him now. They got talent, and it's up to him. I know injuries, the concussions were a big kind of setback for them last year. But again, if he's 100% healthy, again, they got all the talent in the world to kind of be a Super Bowl contender. That AFC is loaded, as we know. But I could totally see the Dolphins finding a way to get there. It'd be tough, but the Dolphins are taking a shot here with 2 years left before you got to pay Tua.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You look at the AFC being loaded. We don't even have a team like that Justin Herbert's on even in the conversation. But a really reason for that is because of the head coach.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Till they get rid of him, that's be pretty tough for them to be a contender. For them to be a legit. Well, to actually for them to find a way to get Super Bowl with Brandon Staley. Yeah, it's be very tough to see that happen.
Yep, and we kind of forget about the Jaguars a little bit too. I think we got to put them in the mix as well with the Dolphins and the Jags. I think we have to put them in the mix as well. I definitely put them as Super Bowl contenders. Those 6 teams right now, I'm putting as Super Bowl contenders. Jaguars, Dolphins, Jets if they get Aaron Rodgers, Bengals, Bills, and Chiefs.
Yeah, we saw a lot from the Jaguars last year. They got better. I'm right. I think the talent in the Chargers is a little bit better than the Jaguars, but yes, the head coaching makes a big difference. I'm very split on the Jaguars and Chargers, being Super Bowl contenders, but I could see the Jags again taking that next step, especially in that division. It's it's their division right now, so yeah, the way Trevor Lawrence developed last year, I could totally see the Jaguars being in that Super Bowl contender conversation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So we got to get to the free agents. We got to get to Javon Hargrave, who signed with the 49ers on Monday, 4 years, $84 million. And the big question is does this shift the power in the NFC? Are the Niners now clearly the best? Seeing with all the losses the Eagles have, and I know you like the Eagles in the NFC East, but are the Niners right now clearly better than the Eagles? Are they better than the Eagles? And if Trey Lance pans out, I definitely think they aren't just the best team in the NFC. They are the best team by far in the NFC. If Trey Lance is a top 10 quarterback, I think the Niners are clearly the best team in the conference.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the Niners right now with Hargraves coming in, again, that defensive line is just so good already. Hargraves had a career year. He had 11 sacks last year. To add him with that mix for how already good that defensive line is, It's that defense is even scarier now. So absolutely, I think I have the Niners as the favorite. And with the Lance stuff, with them bringing in Sam Darnold, I kind of feel like maybe do they not know if he's a guy or if he's not going to be 100% ready? Like I don't know. Bringing in Sam Darnold, because I know Brock Purdy's probably going to miss. He'll be back. Sounds like maybe towards the beginning of the regular season, but I don't know. Could Sam Darnold possibly maybe be their starting quarterback? I kind of worry that maybe they're not all in on Trey Lance with the injury concern. Maybe they don't think he's ready, but right now I do think the Niners are the best team in the NFC.
Going from a current Niner to a former Niner, we got Mike McGlinchey, who signed with the Broncos. I think it's a good signing for them. He's not a great tackle, but a good right tackle, and it gives Russell Wilson some protection.
Yeah, absolutely. They needed that. He got sacked 55 times last year. Their O-line was horrific. So yeah, bringing in him and Powers as well. I think it's a good move for the Broncos and helping out that O-line because they need to protect the older, aging Russell Wilson.
All righty, so we will go to the NFC South, and we got a couple moves in that division. As today, the Bucs signed Baker Mayfield, so he'll be competing for the job with Kyle Trask in Tampa. But either way, and seeing the loss in their offensive line, Shaq Mason was traded to the Texans. Donovan Smith got released. I think it's going to be tough and this team does not have a running game, as we saw last year. Both these guys are clearly downgrades over Tom Brady, even last year, even though Brady wasn't at his best, they're still downgrades from Brady. I think it's going to be a tough year for the Bucs, seeing whoever plays quarterback. If it's Mayfield, if it's Trask, I think the Bucs are in for a long year. But is there any way the Bucs can contend in the South with Baker Mayfield? I think they have a chance because the South is so terrible, but I think it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's possible they could contend in the South. I think their defense is still pretty good and can keep them in games. But yeah, their running game is terrific. They're off the line now. Lost some big pieces. So I think it'll be tough. Maybe they hang around for a while, but yeah, I think the Saints are a little bit better. They'll kind of pull away, I think, late. So yeah, it'll be tough for the Buccaneers this year, but I wouldn't be shocked if they're right there going in like week 14, week 15, tied with the Saints or a game back, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And another NFC South team made a big move this week as the Falcons signed Jesse Bates to improve their defense. Their defense was not good last year. This definitely improves their defense in Atlanta, puts them in that secondary with A.J. Terrell. And they also signed a guy from the Saints. They signed one of the Saints defensive tackles too. So the big question is with some of the losses the Saints have had, they lost 3 defensive linemen. The Falcons, they've added a couple guys on defense. They've also they did bring in Taylor Heineke. They signed Caleb McGarry. They re-signed him. But with some of the moves the Falcons have made on the defense, have they surpassed the Saints as the favorite in the NFC South? I don't think so. I still think even with the loss in the defensive line, I still think the Saints are the favorite in the NFC South because I know what I'm getting at quarterback. I don't know what I'm getting at quarterback with Desmond Ridder. I know what I'm getting at quarterback with Derek Carr.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you until I kind of find and see what Desmond Ridder is the type of guy he's going to be able to be at this level. I got to go with Derek Carr and the Saints. Yeah, the Falcons are getting a little bit better. They just got Jonnu Smith too. Again,
Jonnu Smith's not good.
No, he's not. But he reunites with Arthur Smith, who did a pretty good job with him at with Tennessee. So maybe he finds something in him. I don't know, but I think the Falcons got a little bit better. But yeah, I still got to go with the Saints because I like Derek Carr at quarterback, and I know he'll play well. And I don't really know yet in Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely still taking, even with the moves in free agency, I'm still taking the Saints to win that division because and look at the receivers for the Saints too. They got good receivers. You got Chris Olave, had a really good rookie year. You could get Michael Thomas back. I know he's not the same player, but he's still Michael Thomas. So and you don't know what's going to happen with Alvin Kamara, but you could have Alvin Kamara too. And you still got some pretty good guys in that defense with Cameron Jordan, with Demario Davis, and with Marshawn Lattimore and Tyrann Mathieu. So I'm still taking the Saints in the NFC South.
Yeah, I'm completely agree with you. That same team is, still a decent roster. That, as you mentioned, they still got some pretty good pieces. So, yeah, Atlanta, I think, is doing a good job of trying to during the rebuild process here. But yeah, I think they're still a couple moves away from surpassing the Saints in the NFC South.
Absolutely. Now we got to wrap up talking about the Patriots and their just lack of activity in free agency. And it's appalling. Their lack of activity in free agency last year was appalling. And this year it's starting to become that too. they got to be in on guys like they got to be in on Orlando Brown. I don't get why they're not in on Orlando Brown. They had issues at tackle last year. You got to protect your young quarterback. I don't get why this team isn't in on Orlando Brown. And then yesterday they didn't sign Jacoby Myers. And here's the thing. I will not get on the Patriots for not signing Jacoby Myers if there's something bigger is coming. If a DeAndre Hopkins, if a Jerry Jeudy, if that's coming, I'm not going to get on them for signing him. But say they don't replace him. Say they don't go out and get Orlando Brown, or they don't replace Jacoby Myers this offseason. This is another terrible offseason for the Patriots if one of those two things doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. Actually, it was right before we went on. The Athletic was reporting that they're in on Odell Beckham, Jerry Jeudy, and DeAndre Hopkins. They're in that trade market for those, and then signing Odell Beckham. So we'll see. It's been pretty lackluster. But the way things are going, I'm not my expectations right now are not very high for this team for next year. Just with Aaron Rodgers coming in from this division too, it's going to be very tough to get out of the basement with this roster, and there's going to be a lot of that we're going to have to do. So I'll be honest, I'm not really letting the Patriots lackluster offseason right now kind of get to me. It's March Madness starts tomorrow. I'll worry about the Patriots in a month. But
come on. This isn't good. This is 2 years in a row. They're completely setting this quarterback up to fail. Last year it was with the coaching and nothing and doing nothing. This year it's with having a very, very slow start to free agency.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not shocked that Bill's doing that. Again, I know he went all in early on a couple years ago, but we have the cap space. I have to assume that we did, because we didn't sign Myers, that Hopkins is an option, or Jerry Jeudy. I have to, because I don't think they're going to draft somebody in a wide receiver in the first round. I know they were all in on Zay Flowers when they for the Senior Bowl. I know they were doing a lot. They had Bill O'Brien watching them a lot, so I think that's somebody they're interested. But I don't think they're going to draft him at 14. I hope not, but we'll see. I think there's something bigger, but yeah, it's been lackluster. It's not good for Mac Jones that this is kind of continue happening, especially with everything else in this division. It's not even fair. It's tough to judge him, with this division, and again with the pieces around him. He's absolutely getting set up to fail, and there's starting to become a lot of pressure on Bill now, and there's a lot of the last couple of days I've seen. This was all Brady. Bill had 10% or 20% of this stuff. So they're starting to really ramp up the, this was all Brady talk and all that. So I would assume Bill is going to start making some moves, I would hope, very soon.
Yeah, the pressure should be on Belichick. This has been an average team really for the last 3 years. It's been an average football team. And really you did sign a lot of guys in that 2021 offseason. But the one guy you did sign and went out and got has probably been your best player over the last 2 years. So this team needs to be active. You look at the division. You look at the potential of Rodgers going to the Jets, Ramsey going to the Dolphins, the Bills. They've owned you the last 3 years. You look at what's going on in this division. I mean, this is another year. Now you're now. This is year 4 without Brady, and you're still an average to below average team, not even close to a Super Bowl contender after 20 years of being the best team in football. I think that definitely has to frustrate fans.
Yeah, it definitely does. It'll frustrate me probably in about a month. But yeah, it is frustrating because right now with Rodgers, it's there's no way we're not finishing 4th. There's really not, unless it's some big.
The only way you wouldn't finish 4th if the Jets get Rodgers is say Tua misses a bunch of games and Skylar Thompson has to be the starter for the Dolphins. That's the only way you wouldn't finish 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There would have to be injuries throughout the, couple spots right now in that division for that to happen. Yeah. Again, it would be nice to go get an Orlando Brown, because we definitely need to, to upgrade that tackle spot.
You have got to be in. You got to be in on Orlando Brown. And I don't want to hear, it's too much money. It's too much. Stop it. You need to compete in this division. You need to get talent on the field. Tackle was an issue last year. You got to be in on him.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I don't know. I haven't seen much on him for linked to the Patriots. I know there was a little about Jesse Bates. I was kind of hoping, because I kind of felt like his versatility kind of fit our defense, but obviously that did not come to fruition. But yeah, it's, again, the talent's not great. We're going to probably lose, Damian Harris too. Again, at the moment, there's a lot of Ramondre Stevenson that kind of carry the workload for most of the weapons right now. And get a nice year, but I don't really want him to have to carry that. But right now, yeah, it's definitely frustrating. We definitely have to make some moves soon. Again, I think they've talked maybe about draft push trading back in the draft. I know that's something Bill's always thinking about, but we'll see. We absolutely do need to do something soon, because yeah, we're bound to finish fourth right now in that division.
Yeah, and the point is they got to stop running this team. And they've been doing this since last year's offseason. They've been running this team like Tom Brady's the quarterback, not doing anything in free agency, just having, last year just figure it out, Mac, with bad coaching and not improving the team around him. Just figure it out, Mac. This isn't Tom. And Mac Jones has potential to be a good player. He's not going to be Tom Brady. Nobody's Tom Brady. You can't expect Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady, you could take Deion Branch away. Oh, he gets him to the AFC Championship game. Take Wes Welker away. Oh, he gets him to the AFC Championship game. Mac Jones is not capable to do that. He needs pieces around him. And Bill Belichick needs to realize that. And if he doesn't, his days as the GM need to end.
Yeah, Dale, we've been saying that for 3 years, that this is not Bill this is not Tom Brady walking through the door still. And again, it doesn't sound like again, I'm not 100% sure, but I can't assume Kraft's too happy about this. Again, Kraft's getting up there in age. He wants to make one more Super Bowl push. And
Absolutely.
Again, he can't be happy with the things going on right now. So I would assume he's getting on Bill, or at least trying to hedge him on to kind of work his magic here and gets a couple of guys. Because, yeah, it's not fair to Mac Jones, because you got to, next year's the year, you got to make the option. You got to decide on his fifth-year option. Again, I hope to still keep him around. But, again, it's pretty tough with the team right now that's around him. And it's going to be tough for him to succeed, as we mentioned. So, look, we'll see. But, yeah, it's a big year for Mac Jones, because this is the big year. You really have to decide if you want him to get that fifth-year option, and hopefully you give him the long-term contract, or you cut bait with him and, figure something else out. But I don't think it's fair to him. And, yes, I agree. I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's got the potential with the piece around him to be a borderline top 10 quarterback. But, again, we can't find that out with the team around him.
Absolutely. So that's going to wrap up this edition of Sports Talk with R&J, but we are going to be back in about 5 minutes breaking down the entire NCAA tournament. So make sure you tune in for that.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are not. They're even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.